swing. So as I said, there's a good thing at setup. You had a nice sort of routine that you put in place, all this stuff where your arms got there, try and get your distance. All I would say in terms of that is just when you're doing that, trying to be so sort of locked and stiff and tense in this sort of position, okay? We want your arms to be relaxed. Yes, they're going to be extended, but a lot of guys get this sort of in there, they like their arms have got to be straight, they just lock them out, okay? You want your arms to just hang down by your shoulders, kind of tension free. You don't want to be sort of locking them, because that's going to kill your sort of control and kill your speed, okay? But the main issue, as we said, was sort of some setup. Because this left heel was back, yeah, you kind of put a position where you could really rotate. Yeah. And the weight got a bit more on your toes at setup, okay? So as you went back here now in your takeaway, there wasn't really much kind of lower hard. It was picking the club there with your hands and arms. Then as the club starts going back, we get to the top of the back, so haven't really sort of created much depth in the backswing. Yeah. As you then come back down to the golf ball, your weight's on your toes here now, and even from there now, you're sort of going forward, you're kind of going over onto your toes. And when you're in this position now, and the weight kind of sort of thing, it's going to throw the club outside the line. With longer clubs, you might get a bit slicey or whatever. And with a sort of 6, well, I guess sort of 8, 9 and 7, you're good enough to a point get away with it. Yeah. When you go into longer clubs, no one's good enough really when you go in a position. If you're losing balance and you're having to grab your toes on the ground, you're going to struggle, okay? So the sensation's going to be now we're going to sort of turn into your right. So you can see how much longer your arm looks now. If you look at the backswing you had before, yeah? Your arm just looks like you've got quite much more depth. You're turning into this right heel, into the right hip now. Yeah. So when the club then was to come back down now, yeah, you're bringing the golf club down. You look a lot more in balance here. The club's going to work more from the inside and then through to balance. Okay, now this is what I suggest. Do a few practice swings where you're thinking now about the movement. During a practice swing, there's no ball to worry about. So you can think. Do 2, 3, whatever it may be in terms of that practicing before the shot, both on the range and the golf course. Then when you step into the golf ball now, you line your feet up again. Better feet position there in terms of your alignment, okay? Now your focus is on that thing that we're going to try and hit. The practice swings beforehand are trying to sort of create sort of that muscle memory, should we say, or that movement pattern to then happen when we step in the golf ball. And as a result of your practice swings there, you can see now as you go back, sort of decent takeaway now. Top of the backswing, you can see how much more depth you've got. So you've turned your lower half, the leg and so on, and sort of going backwards. You're creating a bit more depth and you're using the engine, the golf swing. So as you start coming back in the golf ball now, when you're here, you look a little bit more balanced on the sort of the middle part of your feet. Whereas this one here now, you're falling forward. You're going forward there now. As you go into this golf ball, you're on your tippy toes, and then both feet kind of spin round here. There's not much stability there now. Like I say, if you're losing balance on a flat lie, put you on a golf course where it's never very flat. You're going to be wobbling and toppling over, okay? So as you're coming down now with a much more stable base, you can see now a couple of times the right foot stays back a little bit more than we want, but that's to be expected, okay? But at least as you go through the golf ball there now, you're able to rotate through. You're not spinning your feet while being on the tippy toe or the balls of your feet, You're a bit more stable. You're using the ground a bit more. So you've got a lot more balance. You're able to use the ground to create that force and energy and power. And also by turning better on the way back, you're going to create more club head speed as you come back in the golf ball without you trying to just swing it faster. Now, as I said, there'll be a couple of times because you're swinging certainly further behind you and the club is coming in on a shallow angle and you're more on the weight back on the heel here, the ground might seem a bit further away. So you might get the odd one or two where you thin them a little bit, but it's not the end of the world in this sort of time, especially when the ground's a bit wet if you're kind of a bit thin. So, but the club you can see now working from a much better angle into the golf ball now, pathwise. Good strike of the golf ball. Ball starting, and I would say probably 80% of the shots you've hit since that change now got left, right to left, haven't they? You haven't really sliced anything. Whereas before, when you were going on your tiptoes and coming across it, most of your shots look like that, which then is probably the reason why at the start you drag the left foot back to basically just swing your arms across the body to it left, which then it causes the problem. So everything's sort of like a reaction to each other, One thing changes the next. It's a chain reaction,
That's perfect.
So if you can set yourself up, as I said, a bit more lined up, and your practice swings, as I say, literally at home. Just stand at home. Don't have to do a swing. Just swing back. Just go that. Back and forth.
Honestly, now you said it, mate, I can't believe I haven't noticed it before.
But you don't, do you? Can't see yourself, It's one of those things that when now but now you've been shown it, you can't unfeel it. It's like, so if someone shows you a picture, oh, hang on, oh yeah, I couldn't see that. But once you see it now the next time, you can't not see what you've been pointed out at, you see.
So get your weight in the middle, yeah?
Yeah, arches, ankles, that kind of thing. So you're in a position where you're kind of nice and balanced, sort of, you're tipping forward. So you could effectively rock back and forth, heels and toes quite comfortably, because we're trying to rotate around a spot, yeah? If you go on your toes this way, it's very hard to rotate your body, yeah? So you get really sort of stuck and you can't move. So I just say your practice at home now, and it's going to be just doing this, yeah? Just toes that right heel. And the thing is, if you did that, I don't know, for 2 minutes, twice a day, you would probably get, I don't know, in 2 minutes, if you did it, I don't know, 45 seconds, 15-second rest, 45 seconds, whatever, you'd probably ought to get, I don't know, maybe a good 20 or 30 moves of doing that. Well, if you do that twice every 2 minutes, that's 4 minutes of your day, you've done 40 good movements. How many good movements down the driving range would you actually make? You wouldn't make 40 good ones, would you? You might make 10 or 15, but chances are, if you've seen a golf ball curve or do something, you're not going to focus on the good movement, you're focusing on where that ball, the ball's gone to the right, I'll go in for the left now. Hit the ground, okay, I'll miss the ground now. Top bit, I'll hit the ground, and then you're making all these adjustments, So by moving the body and working on the motion patterns, your body's now starting to kind of learn the movement rather than reacting to what it sees the ball do, So sometimes home practice is actually more beneficial. You get more movements and create what you're trying to create. So eventually, and it's not going to be the sort of next game of golf, I'd imagine, but going sort of in the sort of summer this year, hopefully, you'll be in a position where you stand to a golf ball now, and this will just be what you do. What to think about it. At the moment now, it's a bit of a conscious competent. You can certainly do it, but you've got to think about it. Okay, so working on that, moving to the right side. Okay, going to get a bit more depth, get that club working more behind you. They get the engine working better. Once this is working back here now and you're moving the body better, in some ways more body movement's giving you better balance, you see. When you didn't move your body, the weight just sort of tipped forward because of the way you were leaning forward, and then you're trying to react. So. Okay, mate, makes sense? Good stuff, right.